It's about cannabis truth, finding holistic relief from gentle but powerful plant therapy. And that's what this sweet little book is all about, and I wrote it just for you. There's my picture on the back and my logo and a little bit about me. It is available on Amazon.com right now. Only 116 pages. It's such an easy read, but you're going to be delighted at how powerfully packed it is, because it will teach you exactly what you need to know in order to use this plant safely and efficiently for yourself, for your particular individualized needs and issues. All right, shall we jump into a little bit? Would you like to hear what the contents are like? Let's get started, shall we? I'm going to tell you all about it.
Welcome to Season 6 of the Cannabis Truth Podcast, where we speak the language of cannabis freely and uncensored while educating our audience on safe use of this live plant therapy. You should know what's in your cannabis, what's good and what's not, because cannabis does not come with an FDA stamp of approval, yet. The information you will find here comes straight from scientists and clinicians doing the work and reporting their findings in reputable outlets. Hopefully, we can inspire you to research the facts as we know them today. Cannabis is an amazing alternative in health remedies, with the potential to alleviate typical disease problems and troubling side effects, even those caused by synthetic prescriptions. Here now is the host of the Cannabis Truth Podcast. She is a 21st century cannabis shaman, not a doctor, not a scientist. Raised by nuns and wolves in the verdant cattle pastures of the Oklahoma oil fields, here to amplify the truth of this great big story of cannabis in historical, political, scientific, and spiritual terms, so you can make educated decisions about the medicine you choose to ingest. Please welcome Honey Smith Walls.
Chapter 1. It's access to cannabis. I mean, glory be, we are all over the place, and because of our brilliant technology, we're global too. So every single stinking legislator in the world made up their own damn rules about cannabis. And so you have to figure out what access you do have available to you. And this will help you understand, no matter what area of the world you live in, how to find access to what you need. So that's the first thing. Let's look at our access and see where we are and how we can get around to finding the proper products for our issues. The next one, the next chapter is what to expect when you're going to go buy something. Oh my glory. I cannot tell you the shock and surprise and dismay I felt the very first time I went to my very first dispensary. It was down in Florida. I had to drive over an hour to get there. There weren't very many dispensaries in 2016. They were very few and far between. And so I drove south for an hour from Melbourne, Florida, which is where I lived, and finally found the dispensary, but it was in a weird section of town. It was in the industrial section of town. So that means mostly gravel parking lots. And in this particular dispensary, you had to cross a busy street from their gravel parking lot to get over to the door where the dispensary was. And then you had to push a button and be allowed inside. And then you're in a glass cage with a little hole cut out of one window to speak to a person behind that window sitting down. And then you have to give over, all your information. And then you get patted down by a great big old guard with a gun. And then you are allowed inside the inner sanctum after you have proven that not only are you, eligible to come into this place, but you have the proper licensure to do so. It was traumatizing. I didn't expect to have to get patted down just going in to get medicine, but yep, that's the way it was back there in 2016 in Florida. So, and then what they sold me, because I didn't know what I was buying, what they sold me was really, really high concentrated THC. Hang on a second. I see somebody getting in trouble over there. Just what is it that you're trying to do? Oh. Let's see if she gets it. She's trying to get that milk bone. She's about to. That's our Millie. She's, she's stretching so hard. Oh, she's trying. She's scared. She's a little scared. You scared? You scared to get it? You can do it. Pull your big girl panties up. You can get it, Millie. Anyway, when we first started going into dispensaries, they were so all fire afraid of the wrong people coming in and robbery that they just frisked all the old ladies and old men on walkers and cannulas of air, that came in. So, and then I went home and the stuff that they gave me, it was a vape pen. We couldn't even smoke the raw flower yet back in Florida. We could only get vape cartridges, and the stuff that they gave me felt like shards of glass going down my throat. I took 2 sips off of that vape pen, and holy criminy, I got on the phone and called them and said, what's going on? What this, I can't use this. It's painful. My medicine shouldn't be painful. So, okay, so I'll bring it back in, they said. Okay, so I brought it back in. They gave me, another one. Same thing. So that's just how it was back then, and I switched to a completely different kind of product, a tincture, after that. And that was almost as bad because they were alcohol tinctures and they tasted so bad, I could barely think of any way to use them. It was nasty. Anyway, those days are over for Florida. And they're way past for Michigan, too, which is where I live now and is a completely recreational state. Now, they used to be medical. And when that happened, over 300 people signed up. And when recreational came in, that medical system went down to about 3,000 people, of which I am one. But it doesn't matter. Nobody looks at my medical card. Nobody uses it. I just pay for it just to get it, but there's no reason. The people up here in the dispensaries don't know a thing about cannabis. And so again, they're just trying to sell you the high. And that's really frustrating because the high is not where the medicine is. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but sometimes that euphoria is so needed. But most of the time, when you're in euphoria, I'd say you're overdosing on THC and not using it right, because when you use it properly, you microdose. You microdose. That's a term that we're going to be talking about more in another chapter. But for right now, what to expect when you're buying something, it's kind of it really depends on what state you're in and how they're treating the whole cannabis idea right now. So if you're in a medical state, I'd say you're far better off, because at least you're going to be getting some education, more education around medicinal cannabis than you ever would. You never get any education around recreational cannabis. And it's the same plant. It's the same product. But they put stupid names on recreational cannabis like King Bubba Kush Bumpy Boo Boo And it means absolutely nothing. You have no idea what the compounds are inside of it, or, how they're going to affect you, or even if you need those compounds, even if you knew what was in them, how would you know what it's going to do to you until you read? So you'll find that in here too, what those compounds are doing for you and how to choose them. Okay, let's go to the next one. Aren't you excited already what to expect when buying and how to figure out where to find the product that's going to soothe your needs? Exactly. Also, at the end of every chapter is a little itty bitty quiz. That's right, I love quizzes because it helps me cement the information in upstairs. So let me get my little glasses back on. Knocking everything over. So, you want to hear what one of the quizzes sound like? It's real easy, but it's fun. But you might not know what the answers are. It's true or false. The first one. Bud tenders are cannabis salespeople. True or false? Number 2. Bud tenders know everything about cannabis. True or false? What would you think? Number 3. Marijuana is cannabis with high levels of THC. Yes or no? True or false? Number 4. THC always makes you high. Is that true or is that false? And number 5. Hemp is cannabis that contains high levels of CBD. True or false? So I like these little quizzes. I think they're fun and they really do help you differentiate what's going on and what the real, truth of the matter is. Also, at the end of every chapter, I have a specialist spotlight, a cannabis specialist spotlight. And the very first one that I talk about is who I've been talking about because of the 4th of July recently. It's Dr. Angie Krause, and she is a veterinarian in Boulder, Colorado. And you can get to her by looking up my book. You can get to her online, do the Google thing, Dr. Angie Krause, Krause. And she is absolutely amazing. Her website is boulderholisticvet.com. Go talk to Angie. In fact, I'm setting up an interview with her in the next few days because of my puppy Paco. I just spent a couple of $1,000s on an emergency vet bill for him to find out that he's got some liver stuff going on and some weird readings in his labs, and his belly has been real bloated and tight, and he's been crying, and so he's been really, really uncomfortable. And I have been feeding him all the wrong things. So we're going to start there with diet, and got him on a bland diet right now. But I'm also going to call Dr. Angie and get on a 30-minute call with her. And I pay her for her services and her time. And I'm going to give her all the results of Paco's emergency vet experiences, lab reports, and all of that stuff, and see what she's got to tell me. Because after spending a couple of $1,000s on all of that emergency business, they then wanted me to buy $300 extra worth of anti-nausea pills. 3 of them. $300 for 3 different types of anti-nausea pills. Now, of course, I know that cannabis would be a much easier anxiolytic, anti-nausea compound. And I know that dogs, like humans, have a receptor system that binds perfectly with these compounds. So I'm calling Dr. Angie, the cannabinoidologist veterinarian, who is in this book as my trusted source and a special spotlight, because I want you to know who you can turn to when your dogs or your cats or your whatever gets really, sick and you're really worried. She's amazing. And I'm going to be using cannabis therapy on Paco and probably maybe some mushroom therapy. I don't know. We'll just have to see what she's got to say. She probably have to have a prescription of something or another, but also a supplement for a liver supplement, that sort of thing. So I expect her to be able to tell me the best products available for our pooches that are meant for our dogs and cats. Anyway, okay, so that's my story and saga, ongoing saga right now. I'm in elder care again for Paco Poo, and he's 15 and had a great life, and we've had a great time together, but, this might be the swan song. And I've got 4 others that I'm also taking care of and loving on, and so we're just going to give Paco the very, very best treatment, therapies, and good loving to make him as comfortable as possible. And we're going to do it with plant therapy whenever possible. So it's not going to cost $300 either, and it's not going to be 3 different dang pills. Yeah, honey, no.
Hi, Honey Smith Walls here. I'm host of the Cannabis Truth podcast, weekly for the past 6 years. But today I'm inviting you to a Facebook group called the Holistic Relief Summit, in hopes that you too will come for the peace and stay for the epiphanies. It's a beautiful space for women to find all kinds of relief from all kinds of suffering. Come join us for free.
Well, hello, I'm Dr. Philip Blair, and I want to introduce you to Honey Smith Walls. And she recently had an experience with beta-caryophyllene.
For years, I've been dealing with lots of arthritis pain and pain from neuropathy that has not been resolved through other prescriptive methods. As an advocate educator in the cannabis industry, I learn lots of interesting information about the compounds within the plants, and one of those turned out to be beta-caryophyllene.
What was your first dose like?
I was gobsmacked. Absolutely gobsmacked. It has given me my future back.
I want to get it out to everybody too. I want to get it out to the whole world, as a matter of fact. It has so many mitigating factors for all the stresses of life and pain and diseases. It is unbelievable, the spectrum of care that it can provide.
Okay, the next one. The next chapter, chapter 3. Oh, you're going to love this one. This one, taming THC. Did you even know you could tame THC? You can. And it's easy. It's as easy as putting butter and syrup on pancakes when you know the recipe, when you know the alchemy for taming THC. You never have to get high on THC if you don't want to. Now, disclaimer and caveat to that, I don't have anything about, against getting high. I love getting high. And I'm going to be 71. Oh, wait. Is it July 27th? I am 71. So, okay. So, I don't have anything about against getting high. But as an elder and as an entrepreneur and a businesswoman, I am such a busy girl. I don't have time to sit around, just contemplating the universe. Like the introspection of cannabis helps us to do. I've written a book. I've got the Holistic Relief Summit going. I'm doing live in-person lectures at the Healing Sanctuary. I've got 2 grandkids, 5 dogs, 2 cats, a grown son. I am a busy, busy, busy woman. So when I want to get high, I usually do it right before I go to bed because it gives me such a nice little what for sleeping. But other than that, I tame my THC so I am focused and sharp and I can deliver whatever I need to during the day. And I can take care of this incredibly painful arthritis in my hands and neuropathy in the tips of my finger. That feels like razor blades have slit my fingertips and I'm running them under hot water. It's just awful when it gets bad. And so I medicate with cannabis to alleviate that. And it helps so much. Not completely, I have to tell you. I still feel that tingling and that neuropathy, but it's so tamed compared to the level 10 that it usually is when I do not manage my pain levels properly. And so managing my pain levels, and I imagine I'm going to have this for the rest of my life. I'm 71 now. And I'm thinking at least 20 years. And 20 years with this kind of dreadful level 10 arthritic pain and neuropathic pain, you know, I need something that's not going to put me in brain fog. It's not going to give me a weird hitch in my get along. You know, it's not going to make me cough. It's not going to make me nauseated. It's not going to constipate me. It's not going to keep me from sleeping. All of those are just side issues from polypharmacy. And we can easily alleviate that when we turn to gentle plant therapy. So, taming THC is a big deal in my book. And it's really easy, and I can't wait for you to learn how to do it. Really easy. It's as easy as you learning how to put butter and syrup on pancakes. That's all it is. So, you'll learn how much to well, I'm not going to spoil it. You go get the book. It's so affordable. And oh, the chapter 3 quiz. You want to hear it? Number 1, you tame THC by A, using equal parts or more of CBD, B, microdosing, C, titrating, waiting, notating, or D, all of the above. What do you suppose? Want to hear the next one? Number 2, other compounds that tame THC are A, CBG. Anybody know what that means? Cannabigerol. B, BCP. Anybody? That's beta-caryophyllene. I've talked about it a lot. And C, y'all have heard this one, CBD. That's cannabidiol. Yep, you got it. Or is it D, all of the above? Here's the last one for this quiz. Number 3, whole plant, full spectrum means A, whole live plant with all its natural chemicals. B, chemicals from the whole plant and its full spectrum of live compounds. C, raw cannabis flower. Remember, what does whole plant full spectrum mean? Or D, all of the above. I can't wait for you to figure this one out. Okay, I just have to tell you about this man because he changed my life. He changed my life. And you're going to see a lot of people in this book who changed my life. By the way, this little book has already been peer-reviewed by a bunch of medical professionals who have let me be a fly on the wall in their lectures and courses and classes, and I have matriculated many of their educational courses and so loved getting to know them, their work, and their continuing education that I am part of regularly. I mean, they are a real priority for me because I want to be able to bring you the newest science on this plant. And it is changing. We're finally into some amazing things about cannabis, some amazing discovery and news. I keep holding this one up. This one is backwards, I see to you. The first one I held up, this is background because I'm always on Facebook Live and it doesn't do a mirror image, and sometimes Zoom does a mirror image and sometimes it does. Technology. I'm a tech goddess. I am not afraid anymore. And that comes from hanging out with people smarter than me all the time. So I was about to tell you about dear Dr. Dustin Sulak, a DO, a doctor of osteopath, who lives up in Maine. He is one of the leading cannabinoidologists in the world. And because of his courses and his lectures and conferences, we are all the smarter for it. So it was what I learned from him that truly helped me begin this journey so many years ago, about a decade ago. And he's just an incredible, still a young man with a new family, just had another little baby. And he is truly amazing, teaching us about the compounds in this plant and how helpful they can be. So if I can just tell you, I'll just read a little bit. The introduction. Allow me to introduce Dr. Dustin Sulak, who is a respected physician and cannabis expert recognized for his extensive work in integrative medicine and cannabis therapeutics. With a background in osteopathic medicine, Dr. Sulak has devoted his career to researching the varied medical benefits of cannabis and empowering patients with holistic treatment options. I'll let you read the rest of it. It goes on and on to describe who he is and what he does, but he truly is one of the most respected humans on our planet. Not just in cannabis, but as a doctor too. So let's go on to chapter 4, because right here we're going to have a little Cana review of the stuff that we've already learned up here. And it just starts off by reminding you of where you can locate experts for help, and about the alchemy of cannabis, about taming THC, and about dosing. So these are the things that we've already learned about in just this short amount of time. Like I said, this book is so powerfully packed. But because I used to, even before I got into the cannabis industry, I used to hang out in the medical industry in one form or another, either in hospitals working as a nurse's aide, or private practice working for doctors as a receptionist or doing something like that. So I have always been fascinated with the medical industry. Hey, do I have a kid in the kitchen? I just have to do this. Pardon me, life is talking to me. Honey, would you mind letting Paco in? He's out back crying to come in. No problem. Thank you so much, Parker Pooh. That's my grandson. Oh, there he is. That's my buddy. And now you hear all of them. Okay, all right, everybody, settle down. So, as I was saying, we've got a power-packed little book. And I spent the last decade not only in the medical industry and cannabis, but trying to reword some of this so it's not so difficult to pick up and understand with all these multisyllable words that, we'll have a hard time understanding, So I just love trying to help you understand what they're talking about in such a way that you are really, really going to grasp how to use cannabis safely and efficiently for yourself. Safely. Now, we talk about safety all the time at Cannabis Truth because it's a plant and it grows from the ground up. You know what's in the ground? Heavy metals. And so this plant is a reuptake and it'll suck up all kinds of stuff out of the soil. Not only heavy metals, but pesticides and herbicides and fungicides and, molds and mildews and things like that. So we must be cautious with our plant therapies and ingesting them if they have not been tested for contaminants, toxins. We talk about that so much because it is a priority as a patient that we understand we are going to be ingesting live plant therapy and we don't want any contamination in it so that it can do its job. All right. So Chapter 4 is a Cana review over what we have just gone through. There's a quiz at the end of Chapter 4. And oh my glory, I can't wait to tell you about the next specialist spotlight. This gentleman, he is so sweet and so wonderful and so accessible and easy to understand and talk to. My friend, Dr. Philip Blair, a retired Army colonel and MD, a medical doctor. And he decided to get into the cannabis industry. And then he realized there's more than just cannabinoids in this plant. There are other compounds known as terpenes. And terpenes are what we smell and taste inside everything we eat and drink. Or, just smell, right? So, like the grass, when grass is freshly cut, you smell that fresh cut grass, that's a terpene. Ain't that something? And now if I say, when you cut a lemon open, are your jaws locking up? Mine are. So that's a terpene in lemons that you're conjuring up in your mind, and it's making your taste buds come up and go, wahoo! Isn't it amazing that you can recall a terpene like what's in lemons? By the way, the name of that is limonene. That's easy, isn't it? And you know what the one in pine trees is called? Pinene. Isn't that interesting? And you can smell that too when you think about it, huh? All right, so terpenes are not only tasty and smell good, sometimes they smell bad. Terpenes also have incredible medicinal powers. And so you're combining not only cannabinoids that have these amazing medicinal qualities about them, but also terpenes. Wow, bammy, bammy. Now we're stacking medicinal compounds on top of each other and ingesting them into our body that already has receptors saying, wahoo, here it comes. All right, you're going to learn all about that receptor system, how ancient it is, when they just first discovered it, how it manages to bind perfectly with all those plant cannabinoids from that unique plant. Cannabis is so unique. All right. And the next thing, let me introduce him. Let me say this. Allow me to introduce retired Colonel Dr. Philip Blair, who is a board-certified family physician licensed in Washington State. He graduated from West Point in 1972 and attended the University of Miami School of Medicine and trained as a family physician. He has assignments in Georgia, Louisiana, Washington, Oklahoma, Texas, Hawaii, Kansas, Italy, Korea, Germany, and the Gulf War. goodness. In 2014, he was introduced to cannabidiol. And since then, he has treated several thousand patients with CBD in his clinical practice. Currently, he is researching the terpene beta-caryophyllene. Beta-caryophyllene. I love that terpene, and I don't ever want to go a day without it. We'll talk about that later. But BCP, beta-caryophyllene, wahoo! So, he's researching the terpene beta-caryophyllene as an alternative to medicinal cannabis. So if you can't cannabis, you can terpene, because terpenes are not cannabinoids. But this one, little side note, acts just like a cannabinoid. All right, y'all, settle down now. Sorry about that. So, there's a little bit more about him, and I want you to get to know Dr. Philip Blair. You can find him at blairmedicalgroup.com. blairmedicalgroup.com. Tell him Honey sent you. If you ever go see any of these specialists, tell him Honey sent you. I love them all so much, and I have been amplifying their good works for a decade now. Finally, got it put in a little book, this powerful, powerful little book that's going to explain everything to you and get you where you need to be, finding relief and solutions to your suffering. And there's all kinds of that going on for all of us. Oh, here he is again.
Is that rain? Because she's storming in with facts.
That's my Parker Pooh. Thank you very much, Parker. He's such a crack up. I have so much fun being here with them. All right, Dr. Blair. Oh, I think I was telling you he had gotten into the cannabis industry, and then he found out about terpenes and beta-caryophyllene in particular, and now he's got a product called BC Plus, and I never want to be without it. I talk about this all the time. I take it at least twice a day, sometimes more often, like I did just now before I came on, because it uplifts your mood. It puts this happy girl thing going on for you. And I had just had a big day already, and just got home from the grocery store, lugging all that stuff in. So I was a little tired. And so I just had a little squirt of this, and oh my glory, it tastes so good. Kind of like caramel apples to me. And here I am. You see me with all this livelihood and verve for life and energy. Yes. It gives me energy. This is, it just cranks my happy thing up so much. So anyway, not addicting. I got to tell you, in fact, it is an exit compound. An exit compound. If you are on any kind of addictive anything, sugar, caffeine, drugs, alcohol, this daily will help you get off of that stuff. Within a couple of days of me using this, I stopped drinking Dr. Peppers, and I was like doing 2 or 3 a day. Wow, instant weight loss. And because, it helped me get past that craving for sugar. I just didn't need it. And I just think that's amazing. So beta-caryophyllene, the new compound to be looking after. It helps me with pain. It helps me with inflammation. It absolutely settles all of my anxiety and gives me energy. What more could you ask for out of a little plant compound? What more? And I know what more. And it can be delivered directly to your mailbox. Yes. So thank you, Dr. Blair. If you ever get to see this, thank you. We so appreciate your work in this industry. And I'm just thrilled to be balanced emotionally and feel energy again and the joy of life, tolerance, all of that stuff. So, thank you so much for that, Dr. Blair. Okay. Moving on, chapter 5. I sort of hinted, I gave you a little bit of a story about this in the beginning. Chapter 5 is about dispensaries. And, read the chapter, and try them all. You're going to be overwhelmed, I'll promise you that. But try them all and buy some products if you can find any that will make any sense to you, if you can find any that will tell you how they're going to relieve your issues. So, mostly all you find in dispensaries are brightly colored packages that look kind of like this and crazy names. And they sell stuff that looks like M&Ms and Skittles and, candy for kids. It's what it looks like when I walk into any of these dispensaries. It's just bizarre. So that's not how I want my medicine to come to me. I'm not looking for flavor and buzz. I'm looking for relief from suffering. So I want to know what medicine I'm going to ingest. I want to know if it's been third-party lab tested. I want to know that it's coming from a trusted source. I want to know that I can get it consistently over and over and over again. All right, those are the things. And so when you start, going through this process, there's so much. All right. This is, I just lost my place. I want to tell you about some friends who have made such a deep impression to me, mostly because I hang out in the elder world, and I always have. I've always loved old farts, and now I am one. But being around older people just meant that, they spoke to me. And they wanted to help me learn things. And they were always smarter than me, so I did learn things. And I loved the conversation that it always elicited. And they always seemed nurturing and caring to me. So that was a big deal to me growing up, having somebody to talk to. And they were always older people, like my grandparents, just older people. So I married an older man. He was 22 years older than me. And I watched that process of him aging into, the elder care world and all of that. And all of his friends, too. And lots of them dropping off the edge of the world before him. So there was a lot of that. There was a lot of that elder care as friends. You have responsibilities to your friends who are in elder care too. And that means you go and you visit them, you sit with them, you agree with them when they're talking out of their minds, you just help them eat or bathe or do whatever you can to alleviate their suffering or their caregivers' suffering. So, yes, there is a lot of elder care and caregiving stuff going on in the world, and I've had some pretty big doses of it. So, when I came across Chella and Dave Conan, they made my Cannabis Specialist Spotlight because they work in the elder care realm in dementia and Alzheimer's realm. And they have incredible stories about using cannabis to alleviate not only their loved ones, but themselves from the trauma of caregiving, because caregiving can cause PTSD so easily. And if we don't have the means and modalities, many of them, to assuage our own emotional levels from the trials and tribulations of caring for others, then we're not going to be able to care for others. We need patience. We need tolerance. We need introspection. We need compassion. And cannabis can give us all of that because it has an introspective nature about it. It has a tolerance thing that it just expands your tolerance for whoever you have to be around, animal or human, boss or loved one, you just have more patience when you're using medicinal cannabis, especially when you're using it intentionally for that kind of thing. All right, so I really cannot wait for you to meet Dave and Chella, who have the podcast Cannabis Helps Dementia. Look them up. Go listen to their podcast. It is incredible. Google them. Find them on Facebook. And Chella comes and visits me in my Facebookville space too. So, find her hanging out with me, and I love hanging out with them. And their advice and expertise and love and care is so amazing. This is why they made my Cannabis Specialist Spotlight in my little book. They are just amazing help for finding relief in those worlds, in that arena. Okay, chapter 6, halfway through the book. Delivery methods for intentional healing. Now, delivery methods means how you're going to ingest it. You're going to smoke the raw leaf. You're going to vape with a vape pen. There's 2 different kinds of vapes that you could do. You could do the raw leaf, a dry leaf vape, which is the best kind, or you can do a concentrated liquid THC compound that's very concentrated and hard to control. So there's those 2 kinds of vapes. Okay, you can ingest cannabis in tinctures, alcohol, or oil-based. Oil-based tastes much better. You can ingest gummies. You can rub it on your skin. You can use transdermal patches, which are different than just rubbing on your skin like a cream. Transdermal patches actually go through your blood-brain barrier. So you want to be real careful where you put those transdermal patches, okay? And the book explains that. So what else do we need to know about delivery methods for intentional healing? Oh, I can't wait for you to find out. In the first sentence says, there's no surprise that THC was always in health care. Get it? Anyway, let's see. After researching how the cannabis system works in your state, whether medicinal, adult use, or over-the-counter hemp only, you will begin to understand delivery options and products available. Methods of delivery are strategically important because each differs in their timing of onset, duration, and strength of effects. This is real strategizing. I can't wait for you to read this little chapter. It's so juicy. All right, here's another one. And did I mention how amazingly affordable this is? Oh, let's go through the common delivery methods. Smoking, vape pens, dabbing concentrates. Not for newbies. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Those are for real experienced people in cannabis. Tinctures are wonderful ways of dosing and controlling your dose with tinctures. Topicals, just talked about that. You can rub them on, and you have receptors in your skin, so it's really, really helpful for spot control. You know, like when this thing, the heel of my hand starts acting up like crazy, I get my, where is it? Dang it, I had my little thing over here. I just get a pump that I've got. I think it's from Dr. Blair's. He's got pump thing, and I just put it on and rub it in, and boom. Oh, looky there. I can snap my fingers today. Looky there. Can't always do that, but I medicated before I came on. Okay, what else are there? Transdermal patches. Those go through your blood-brain barrier, and it's very important where you use that patch. There's only 2 places you should use a transdermal patch, and you'll be surprised where they are. Edibles. Don't forget edibles. Edibles are dangerous for trying to dose because you have to cut them up to get a microdose. Or they have to start out as a microdose. And I don't know anybody who's microdosing edibles. So, there's capsules too. And suppositories. Now, that might be a word that just fractures your thoughts. But let me tell you, my friend out in California created a suppository for women, a vaginal suppository for women in their hardest menstrual moments. And this alleviates the pain from all that cramping and inflammation that women go through, most of their lives. So, let's see. So, she created this suppository for menstrual cramps and then found out from her patients that it was good for after. I have to do it this way, that it was really good for after hard banging sex. Yes, because up until that vaginal suppository, you know what we did as women after hard banging sex? We waited until the inflammation went down before we had hard banging sex again, or it just hurt too badly, no matter how much juicy juice you used, because it was so inflamed. This is the magic of the cannabis industry creativity. This woman has come upon a product that will alleviate the inflammation and pain after that kind of physical activity. And nobody else has ever before. I mean, I've never heard of a product that takes care of specifically pain after sex. And now there is one. So vaginal suppositories, great for menstrual cramps, great for after hard banging sex. Only the kind that you want. All right, girls, let's talk some more. And boys, let's talk some more. We do go over the onset and duration of relief in here and all kinds of things. So I know it doesn't look like a very thick book. It's not. But I'm telling you, the information has been condensed down to something that you will so enjoy and easily understand. Chapter 6 quiz. I'm just going to ask you the questions. How do you control the euphoria from THC? Number 2, the effects of cannabis begin and end, and then I give you a time range. And then number 3, delivery methods which are immediately effective, and I give you choices. So these quizzes are really going to sink in this information. So that the first time you go to a dispensary, you're not going to be overwhelmed by the information that you know. You're going to be overwhelmed by the goofy stuff you see hanging on their walls that you have no idea what it is, because it doesn't tell you anything except some Purple Bubba Kush name or Mama's Big Boys Badass whatever. Oh, they've got the goofiest names on their products. Okay. So chapter 7. Oh no. Wait. The Cannabis Specialist Spotlight. It's Dr. Bonnie Goldstein. Oh my glory. Wait till you hear about her. Please allow me to introduce cannabis medical specialist Bonnie Goldstein, MD. Dr. Goldstein is the author of an exquisite book called Cannabis is Medicine by Bonnie Goldstein. And her specialty, buckle up, is autism. Yes, autism. She is a prominent physician and author known for her expertise in the medical applications of cannabis. She obtained her medical degree from the University of Florida College of Medicine and has since become a leading advocate for therapeutic use of cannabinoids in treating various medical conditions. But I want to tell you, that girl is so busy talking to parents of autistic kids. Oh, can you imagine the help that they are getting because this woman knows these compounds? Wow. Gentle plant therapy that doesn't put their children in brain fog. Gentle plant therapy that doesn't make their kids act like zombies. Gentle plant therapy that doesn't upset their tummies and make them constipated. Gentle plant therapy that doesn't force them into this brain fog that, they barely understand where they are or what's going on. Oh, the medicines for autism. It's terrible. And the danger of those medicines. Oh my glory. No danger in this medicine. Now, I'm not saying that it's all right for everybody to take. There are some warnings about cannabis. We'll get to that later. Chapter 7. Microdosing. That's what I want you to find out about, because this is the true way that you find out how, when, what, where, why, everything that you need to know about your specific dose for your specific issue. So please read everything there is about microdosing and follow the directions, because I'm here to tell you it is the true way to find your sweet spot. And that sweet spot, that is the place where the pain goes away before you get to the euphoria. Got it? When we microdose, we're not trying to get high. We're trying to relieve suffering, anxiety, acute pain, and inflammatory pain. 3 major types of pain that all humans, all animals have. Anxiety, acute pain, like a broken leg or something. Inflammation, like arthritis or whatever. You see? So, microdosing is the key to finding the safe and effective dose for your needs. And everybody's dose is going to be different. Everybody's formula is going to be different. Everybody's style is going to be different. And everybody's access is going to be different. So there's a lot of that to look at too. Your choices are going to be limited to your access. But we have alternatives. So not to worry. All right, we've got a lot of guidelines about microdosing. You're going to enjoy it. It's not hard, but there is a formula for microdosing. And it's easy. Again, it's as easy as putting butter and syrup on pancakes. A little itty-bitty formula. And you just read the book. A couple of pages. You're going to love it. Chapter 7 quiz. Oh, pardon me. I didn't mean to get so excited about the Chapter 7 quiz. Microdosing is important for what? A, finding your proper dose. B, control. Precious, control. Maybe we should microdose Precious. C, understanding tolerance, or D, all of the above? What do you think? Number 2, figuring out your cannabis alchemy takes A, time, B, patience, C, journaling, or D, all of the above. Microdosing, number 3. Microdosing is A, good for all kinds of cannabis. B, the safest and fastest way to find your sweet spot. C, a scientific standard of measurement and testing involving time and journaling. Or D, all of the above. What do you think? Okay, my next cannabis specialist spotlight. Oh, wow. This is the man who proved my own theory. Dr. Ethan Russo, his friends call him Bud, and he is just precious. And he has taken the lead in cannabinoidology after our fearless godfather, Dr. Raphael Mechoulam, passed a year or so ago. Dr. Ethan Russo has stepped in to fill his shoes, in my estimation. And it was his hypothesis that, that the cannabis that his patients, that his cancer patients were using from the street was contaminated. And he learned after several of those patients died that the cannabis they were buying had contamination in it. Toxins, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, heavy metals, molds and mildews, and guess what killed them? It wasn't the cannabis. There's really never been a death due to cannabis on the planet. Not from the compounds of cannabis. And so what Dr. Russo found was that his patients had been using contaminated street weed, and the autopsy said that it was contaminated with Aspergillus mold that lined their lungs and prevented them from breathing. So again, it wasn't the cannabis that killed them, it was the Aspergillus mold. And they found that in the street weed that all of those patients were buying. See, that's what happens when you buy legacy weed, we call it, street weed. Stuff that has not been third-party lab tested for safety, for contamination. And we as patients simply cannot afford that risk because it doesn't take much for those of us with delicate immune systems. If you have arthritis, you have a delicate immune system. If you have neuropathy, you have a delicate immune system. If you have IBS, you have a delicate immune system. If you have Parkinson's, if you have Alzheimer's, if you have any of those, you have a delicate immune system. And you cannot afford to be ingesting something that has contamination in it that will line your lungs and kill you. So I tell everybody, don't buy street weed. Don't buy it. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. And don't buy your weed at the dollar store or the gas station. This stuff has a shelf life. And if it sits on the shelf too long, those compounds will turn into other compounds. And they will not act the way you think they're gonna. So there's a lot to learn about the compounds in this plant. It's very exciting science. Dr. Ethan Russo, yes, he's the one who really got me excited about the science because I finally figured out why I was so sick, why I was headed for the grave, and how I could fix that. So go see Dr. Ethan Russo. He too is into terpenes and has his own company. Look him up, Dr. Ethan, Ethan Russo, Russo, MD. And you will find him all over the Google machine. Okay, so chapter 8 is choosing wisely. How do you know what to choose? I don't know. How do you know? It's a difficult choice, especially when you go into a dispensary and they've just got those stupid names. You can't know. You can't know. It'd be like, the doctor diagnosing you with a tumor in your brain and telling you to go to the CVS and pick a drug. Oh, go ahead, just pick one. So, no, that's not how we choose our cannabis. We learn about the product because we know nothing about it, and then we choose from what access we have available. Okay, choosing wisely. But listen, here's some questions you need to think about before you buy. Do I need energetic or sedating effects, or both? Do I want high THC or low THC with a blended product? Do I need a recovery product if I overuse THC? Squee! You didn't even know there was such a thing, did you? Do I need pills or suppositories for issues like endometriosis, sexual inflammation, or menstrual pain? Yes. Do I need a transdermal patch that goes through my bloodstream and lasts longer? Maybe. Do I need more discreet delivery options like gummies or salves or vapes or mints? They even have new technology nano drinks. You can drink your cannabinoids now. Ain't that amazing? I love that. I love that. Oh, and here is the 100-year scandal about cannabis. See, you're going to get a wide education about this plant. You're finally going to understand why it used to be okay 1,000 years ago, even just 100 years ago. It used to be perfectly all right and everybody used it. But then something happened, and this little book will tell you all the details and help you understand why we are at this silly point right now with cannabis, instead of treating it precisely like the medication that it is. Let's see, what else do we have here? We've got my next cannabis specialist spotlight is such a precious man. His name is Dr. Alan Au, and he was the very first pharmacist doctor that I ever heard of and met. And he is just precious. He's a cannabinoidologist. He got his master's in cannabinoidology up at the Boston or Massachusetts School of Pharmacy I think it's in Boston. And he is a serious political advocate for the plant and has his own big thing going on up in the Northeast where he currently lives. I think he might be in New Jersey, but oh my golly, wouldn't you love to have a pharmacist doctor in every single dispensary that you went to, so that you could go in and say, hey, I'm currently taking blah, 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 like warfarin or something for a heart condition, a blood thinner for a heart condition, and is it okay for me to use this cannabis product, or should I be using something else? God, wouldn't that be wonderful? In some states, I think in New Jersey, they already do have to have that. I love that idea. I think it's a fabulous idea because cannabis is medicine. And who knows more about compounds and what they do for us than the pharmacist who studies them for years? All of our doctors, they take a little itty bitty course in lab compounds. Little itty bitty, just a couple hours. Pharmacists study compounds for years. And then they have to be able to recite off, what they do and what they don't at any given moment for thousands of compounds. It's just amazing what they do. Okay, we're moving on to Chapter 9, Terpene Control. Decide your ride. Yes. So terpenes are those fabulous things that we taste and smell. But again, they're incredibly medicinal. And here's the biggest secret about cannabis that still most people don't know a thing about. Terpenes really do decide your ride on cannabis. What does that mean? It means that you're going to have a better experience, a more balanced experience, and one that you can completely control when you use the right terpenes with the right cannabinoids. Now, it's not easy to find. This is still all brand new science. And so, people are just getting used to this whole idea. But you're hearing it here first. Terpenes do decide your ride. So, for instance, if you get up first thing in the morning like I do and your hands are in claws from clenching them all night long and you can't quite get them open easily, and I sure as heck couldn't force a finger snap out of my hands first thing in the morning. But what I do is make sure that I'm using not only some THC for the pain and CBD to balance the euphoria that comes with that THC, because I don't want to be high in the morning. I also use the terpene, beta-caryophyllene and limonene, because they're both uplifting and they both give me energy and they both address inflammation and anxiety and la. So if you were to choose different terpenes that you might want to use for the evening to go to sleep, you would be considering a terpene like linalool and myrcene. And we'll talk about those various terpenes. Not too many of them. I don't want to overload you. And you're not going to see many of them out in the counters anyway, in the dispensaries or, in the product lines anyway. Really, we're just talking about half a dozen or so terpenes at this point. But guess what? There's hundreds of thousands of terpenes. And guess what else? Humans can recall about a couple of thousand of them. Ain't that amazing? Just like I told you about lemons. Woo, your jaw's locking up. Can you smell a pine from the pinene? I can almost smell it. All right, so when you're getting your cannabis and you know that it's got hundreds of compounds in it, but the two highest percentages of compounds in cannabis are either THC or CBD. And then it's got hundreds of other compounds. When you realize which terpenes will affect your ride for like getting up in the morning, you don't want to take the sleepy nighttime stuff first thing in the morning, and you don't want to take that energetic stuff, the limonene and the beta-caryophyllene with your cannabis late at night, because it'll keep you up. So you have to figure out which one you want, and it's a formula, but you are in control and deciding your ride. So you're going to choose a different product for in the morning to help uplift you and give you a bright focus and outlook. And you're going to choose something different for nighttime that's going to help you go to sleep. This is the way we decide how to control our cannabis. And then we choose strategizing through microdosing and also through the terpenes that we choose and the delivery system. Each delivery system has a different time of onset and duration. So there's a lot to consider. It sounds complicated. It's not. It can be a little complex, but we're smart people. We can figure this out. All right, the next one. After chapter 9, and I'm going to go through some of the major compounds that we're seeing now. Not too many of them, like I said, just a few, so that you'll be able to recognize that those details when you come across them. All righty then. The chapter 9 quiz is just a true or false. I'm going to go on to my next look. This handsome young man wrote a book that I absolutely love. And because of that book, he made it to my cannabis specialist spotlight. This is my sweet friend, Russ Hudson, who is an author of a book called The Big Book of Terpenes. It's a 5-pound coffee table book filled with it seems like every single kind of terpene on the planet, but it's not. It's just the major ones, what they do, where they come from, how they are, how they affect, what issues they'll help, all the foods that they're in, where you can find them. It is an amazing book, and this is the book that made me understand how valuable terpenes are medicinally to our cannabis plant therapy. So you're really going to want to check out Russ Hudson and all of the books. I think he's probably got the Big Book of Terps 2 out now. And the next one he was doing was called the Big Book of Flavonoids, Big Book of Flavs. And flavonoids are another compound that we get to learn about. So more about that in the book. Chapter 10. Tips before buying. Wouldn't you love to just be aware of what you don't need and what you do need when you go to make your first purchase or even your next purchase before you read the book? So, tips before buying. You're going to want to know your state's cannabis laws. And you're going to want to know the simple ABCs of what you should be looking for in a COA. Now, I have not really mentioned that an acronym before, but it stands for a Certificate of Analysis. And it is the third-party lab test that we look at to make sure there's no contamination in this plant that we're about to ingest. So there's a lot of safety considerations that I tell you about in this book because I want you to have the benefit of this plant without toxins to have to fight as well. All right. I give you my 3 trusted sources so that you can buy products instantly without having to go find or go wade through a dispensary and not be sure that you're getting what you need. So my 3 trusted sources are Trusted Cana Nurse, who has now changed her name to Enthea Care, ENTHEACARE, EntheaCare.com. I'm saying it that way because I really want you to go there. This is my friend Mbengue, who is registered nurse, has her bachelor's of science, and is also just matriculated. I'm sorry, I can't remember which university, that one of the 2 maybe, that has a cannabinoidology course, a master's in cannabinoidology. And so she just took that course, and her brother is a pharmacist, doctor, who is also creating the products that she and he are devising for us. You are gonna love Mbengue and either Trusted Cana Nurse or EntheaCare.com. TrustedCanaNurse.com or EntheaCare.com. She is such an amazing girl, such an amazing woman, such an amazing nurse, such an amazing medical professional, and she has a divine menu of products that you're going to want to peruse at your leisure. So please go to her website. If you talk to her or anybody, if they ask, tell them Honey sent you, and tell them how much I love them. Their products are fantastic. I've used many, many, many of them, and I think you will be as happy and satisfied with them as I have been. So, trustedcananurse.com or enthiacare.com. My next trusted source is Dr. Philip Blair, and you can find him at blairmedicalgroup.com. Please tell him Honey sent you and send love to both Megan and Dr. Blair, because they are amazing souls on this planet. And the third one, my sweet, sweet, sweet teacher, Dr. Dustin Sulak. He's known as Healer, and you can find him at healer.com, HEALER.com. He too has this incredible menu of products. So does Dr. Blair, and Dr. Sulak's products are coming from Maine area, and a lot of them have the acidic version of the compounds from cannabis. That is the precursor to, like, kind of a long story, but to shorten it just a bit, the acidic version of these compounds is a little bit stronger, a little bit more potent, and so you can get a little more bang for your buck by using the acidic version, and also it won't get you high. You can use THCA for acidic, for acid. You can use THCA and never get high, but it gives you the power of the pain relief. So, or the power of the, like relief for PTSD. THC is really good for PTSD and for, negative looping thoughts. THC is great for that. So, when you use the right amount, the right dose, it's just wonderful to be able to find space in your mind to think of something else. All right, so Dr. Dustin Sulak, I'm still going to his monthlies, and he's just an amazing person. You're going to love him. He looks like he's about 13 years old still, but I promise he's a fully grown man with a family and little ones running around, and he's just adorable. His spirit is kind of like Jesus or Buddha. Take your pick. All right, the Chapter 10 quiz. Oh, it's going to be a good one. You're going to like it. It's about terpenes, so we're going to pass on that one, and I'm going to tell you about Dr. Bridget Cole-Williams, who is my final cannabis specialist spotlight. Allow me to introduce Bridget Cole-Williams, MD, a distinguished medical expert specializing in cannabis science, research, and education. Dr. Bridget, as she is affectionately known, conducts pioneering research on cannabis chemical composition, pharmacological effects, and interactions with the human body's endocannabinoid system. All right, there's more to it. I want you to read about Dr. Bridget Cole-Williams. She has been on my podcast. In fact, lots of these people, most of them, have been on my podcast. I haven't gotten Dr. Sulak on yet, or Dr. Russo, but most of the others have been on my podcast. So you can find them discussing the plant there, too. Chapter 11, it's the last chapter, and it's welcoming you to the cannabis community and what you will find in this medicinal realm. It really is a different mindset than the recreational philosophy. And so, and again, don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against getting high. I just know that that's something I might want to do at a special time. And also, I'm too damn busy to be wonked out, for too long of a time. I've got too much energy and too much life to live yet for just sitting on the couch being introspective. There was something else I was going to tell you. I'm so grateful that I've had the last, here, let me hold up the other one, that I've had the last decade with these amazing specialists, these amazing medical professionals, these amazing advocates of the cannabis plant, so that I can bring all of this to you in a small little digest, along with trusted sources that you will just love. And they will become the standard for your ability to choose good products, good companies, because in this book, I teach you how to discern what makes up a good cannabis company, how to discern what makes up a good cannabis product. And so by my trusted sources and my cannabis specialist spotlight, friends, you will have the gold standard in excellent care. You will now know who you can go to. So please go to Amazon.com, spend just a few, if you went to McDonald's and ordered for yourself and somebody else, you'd be spending more than what this book costs. Yeah. McDonald's, 2 people, costs more than this book. And it's even cheaper if you get it in the e-book. So, and read it on your little, device or whatever. But I like having this book. First of all, it's so pretty. I just love sitting around, and thank you very much. I designed that. But secondarily, it's nice to be able to go back and find those sources. It's nice to be able to refer back to it, and just fondle the pages and look in them and, underscore. I've written in every single page of every book I've ever read. And when I go back and look in those books, it gives me such a chuckle to see what I was thinking, way back when I first did that. And you will too. This book helps you understand what you need to do specifically for your own issues to use cannabis plant therapy safely and effectively. Go to Amazon.com today and order yours. And darlings, would you please do me the favor of leaving a review on Amazon when you buy it, It's in pre-sales until August 2nd, just a couple of days, just a few more days. So you can get it. They'll give you a pre-sale of like 20 pages or something. That's a lot in this book. And if you can, leave a review when you can. And I would be so grateful, because that's what's going to get this book in the big book stores physically. Okay. So also, hey, if you're up in my neck of the woods, I think I mentioned that I'm doing lectures locally at the Healing Center. And that is, if you're in my neck of the woods, and I'm in Shelby Township, Michigan, that's about 50 miles north of Detroit, in Orchard Country. And if you want to come up here and attend any of my free lectures or invite me to your neck of the woods to lecture, I would be so thrilled to have you. And it's always a party with me. We're always having a good time. And if you're a musician, bring your instruments, because, I love to play music. All right. Was there anything else? Oh, yeah. I'm at the Healing Sanctuary every 4th Saturday up in Washington, Michigan. That's just 10 minutes up the road from me. And so every 4th Saturday from 12 to 2, and on Saturday when is it? No, I can't remember. Oh, well, I was going to say something, but I can't remember. It doesn't matter. So anyway, I'm so pleased that you came to be with me today, that you now know about my sweet little condensed pocketbook for learning what you really want to know about the politics of cannabis, the history of cannabis, the science of cannabis, and the how-tos, the practicality of using cannabis safely and efficiently for yourself. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for helping me spread the good word of cannabis. Thank you so much to my audience who has been so supportive. I love you dearly. I so appreciate you spreading this word around. And leave a review, on YouTube, on the podcast, or wherever you are listening to the podcast if you're not on YouTube. And please go buy the book at Amazon.com. It's called Healing Beyond High, Cannabis Truth by Honey Smith Walls. And as always, I love you so much for being here on the Cannabis Truth Podcast. See you next time.
You've been listening to another Cannabis Truth Podcast with 21st century cannabis shaman Honey Smith Walls. Using cannabis mindfully as medication is a different concept in Western healthcare philosophy, specifically over the past century. There's a lot to learn and reconsider. The scientific truth of cannabis is finally getting out and is wide open for all to see at respected medical sites like the National Library of Medicine at pubmed.gov and the Journal of American Medical Association at JAMAnetwork.com. We here at the Cannabis Truth Podcast are right there in the thick of it, alongside the titans of medicine, as a fly on the wall. We are not doctors, nor did we go to medical school, but we have taken dozens of private cannabis courses and still engage in continuing education offered by expert cannabis scientists. Over the past few years, we slowly began to see and understand the bigger picture. Now we hear from people all day long about cannabis. It is so important to use verifiably safe products. The process of getting a diagnosis from your family doctor and taking your records to a cannabis specialist can lead you to the correct cannabinoid therapy for your specific issues. Otherwise, you're simply your own guinea pig looking for answers without the foundational knowledge or ability to determine your best strategy. To find a qualified cannabis expert in your area, visit cannabisclinicians.org. This is a national society of cannabis experts. Look for the link in the show notes. Unless otherwise proven by a reputable third-party lab test, please regard all street weed as contaminated. It may do grave harm to a patient with a delicate immune system who already has inflammatory issues like arthritis, IBS, fibromyalgia, or worse. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope you find value and understanding through the conversations you've heard on this podcast.
A quick shout out to Nathan Pierce and Daniel Rome of the 406 Budcast and their brilliant tech goddesses who created what you're about to hear next.
She walked in with wisdom and a fire in her eyes, talking plant truth where the silence lies. From the roots to the bloom, she saw the light. Now she's teaching folks how to heal it right. Not afraid to challenge the tale of lazy myths and a system that failed. She's got science in one hand, stories in the other. Lifts up the voices they tried to smother. Honey knows, honey grows. Truth in the soil and love in the smoke. Speaking for the elders and the ones left behind. She's the shaman of the leaf with a warrior's mind. Yeah, honey knows how the healing flows. From Florida sun to digital waves, she's breaking down fear with every word she says. Cannabis truth, that's her battle cry. For the mamas and papas still scared to try. She ain't selling hype, she's serving facts. Taking big pharma to school with class. With a mic and a mission, she lights the way for the lost and the curious every day. Honey knows, honey grows. Truth in the a sister, a sage in a world full of smoke. She's the light through the haze, no gimmick, no joke. Honey knows, yeah, honey shows what it means to lead when the medicine grows. With grace and grit and truth as her guide, she's the queen of the green with nothing to hide. Oh, honey knows.